Good morning, my dear friends. In the last class, we understood the input tax credit chapter followed by registration under the GST. Now I am referring to you tax invoice in which the major part focusing the attention in the exam point of view e-invoice. E-invoice is applicable, sorry, business to business B2B transaction, that too taxable supplies, where the value of turnover of a taxable person or registered person in the preceding financial year exceeded 5 crores. Aggregate turnover exceeds 5 crores all India basis. Taxable as well as exempt together exceeds 5 crores, and such taxpayers mandated should issue the e-invoice, which is mandatory. Sir, my turnover not exceeded 5 crores, but I want to issue the e-invoice. Is it acceptable? Absolutely not acceptable. On optional basis, e-invoice, you can't opt. Further, the important point here, e-invoice is generating separate IRP portal, invoice reference portal. There are INV 1, 2, 3, 6 portals are there, and going on developing to meet the demand of the taxpayers, generating the e-invoice through IRP, invoice reference portal. You get my point, sir? So in that case, through that if you generate, there must be a dynamic QR code must be there. Dynamic QR code must in case of B2B transaction. In case of B2C transactions, dynamic code is required only for high value transactions, that dynamic code not generating through IRP portal, which is only a particular QR code of a taxpayer where he collecting the payment from the buyer, facilitating through bank channel, a quick scanning and make the payment. Such a QR code generated by the banker to the taxpayer. Taxpayer is using that in B2C invoices when the transaction is lesser values. I mean, maybe higher values. The values higher values, but the requirement of e-invoice not there. E-invoice not there, B2C, but QR code is mandatory. QR code is mandatory only in the case where higher values. The value is 2 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs value of invoices, where to get the payment easily through digital mode, the vendor, his bank provide to the vendor, the QR code is mentioning in the invoice, which is not generating through IRP portal, not invoice reference portal. I will refer to these points. Sir, why are you giving the so much of emphasis on the e-invoice, sir? Means the important point lying here is my turnover exceeded 5 crores in the previous year. Now I mandatory have to issue e-invoice. Instead of generating the e-invoice through IRP portal with a dynamic QR code, I simply issued tax invoice. My buyer not eligible to claim ITC. That much is importance. You get my point, sir? For example, 20 lakhs worth of the goods or services supplied with a GST 18%, 3 lakh 60,000. If instead of issue the e-invoice, which is mandatory for me, but I issued tax invoice, which is not eligible to claim ITC by the buyer. This question has been asked CF final examinations couple of months before. Get your points. Therefore, e-invoice is mandatory. Then supplier should issue the e-invoice. What are the process through which e-invoice can be generated, which I am going to bring to notice now. One by one is as follows.
Sir, I missed the point, sir. Can you repeat it, if you don't mind?
You please listen, my dear, by concentrating, please. I have given only introduction only. I have not started the subject. Mute please. Those who are through online, mute please. Yes. Don't worry. I will explain to you all of again and again if you require, if not given the attention, or please listen here. E-invoice. Generally, for whom I said e-invoice in the introduction part? The turnover exists aggregate turnover, meaning what? All India basis, all over India, one PAN holder, taxable as well as exempted turnover exceeded 5 crores. Then in the current year, e-invoice mandatory. If e-invoice is mandatory, where to generate the e-invoice? Look here. Here we have the portals. There are 6 portals are there. E-invoice 1, 2, 3, like that up to 6 in the given case from here to here. Is a government portal gst.gov.in, invoice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why these 6 portals? Because if one portal is there, all of them are taxpayer going to log in that portal, it becomes going to be slow or it may be going to be hang. To avoid this, 6 portals has been used. Can be any portal can log in. If you're not able to get in invoice 1 portal getting slow, then you just quit and come out and go with the invoice 6.gst.gov.in to expedite the process. Smooth functioning purpose, 6 portals are there, gateways are there to generate the e-invoice. Now here the steps for invoice. Go to the invoice registration portal, IR, invoice reference portal, invoice registration portal, where you will be directed to the e-invoice registration form. Step 2, click registration, type your GSTIN, CAPTCHA and whatever maybe the OTP will come and you have to be say properly correctly mentioned. Request to send OTP for that case. Yes, you given the OTP also. You got it to your mobile number. Enter username and password of yours and the portal will access you to access the invoice system using your login credentials. This is just initial. Now I am in the portal. Now here you have with you already tax invoice. Tax invoice only replacing as e-invoice. And there is no difference between tax invoice, e-invoice. But e-invoice were required to mandatorily to issue. If not issue, then the buyer of that particular product or services not eligible to claim ITC. This is what I told you, my dear. You asked me, no, sir, I didn't get something, please explain again. This is what I said. Where e-invoice mandatory for me. I have a tax invoice. This tax invoice should be replaced as e-invoice by generating in it 2 important things. IRN, invoice reference number. Second one, dynamic QR code. This QR code generated through our gst.gov.in e-waybill portal, not e-waybill portal, e-invoice portal. Through e-invoice portal, when generate the dynamic quick response code is generated through system, which is also be mandatory, and IRN number is mandatory. If IRN number and the QR code, dynamic QR code is 2 are there in the invoice, that invoice called as e-invoice. If IRN number is missing, that invoice called what? A tax invoice. Now a particular trader or a vendor required to issue e-invoice, but he issue the tax invoice. Meaning what? What is missing? IRN number missing. If so, the recipient of the goods or services not eligible to claim ITC. This question has been asked a couple of attempts before. Get my points? That much of important of e-invoice, where it is mandatory. However, one cannot go and opt it on optional basis. Only aggregate turnover exceeded 5 crores, then go for e-invoice mandatorily. You get my point, sir? Non-issue of invoice where is mandatory is an offense liable to pay penalty. Invoice violation of invoice, that means the not issue the invoice in time, penalties are there. You get my point, sir? Now please come back. Once you understand the portal, where to generate IRN number and dynamic response code, you came to know. I said here it is only a transaction B2B for taxable goods. Repeating, B2B taxable goods where the turnover of a taxpayer exceeded 5 crores in the preceding financial year, e-invoice mandatory. Sir, what about my turnover exceeded 5 crores, but my supplies are exempted supplies, sir? E-invoice not applicable. Sir, my supplies are to end user, customers, sir. Who am I? My name is Sangeeta Bhavan, restaurant services. My turnover the previous year, you know how much? It is 100 crores, sir. More than 5 crores. In that case, for me, e-invoice mandatory? Yes, sir. But when I supplied my supply of services, to whom I am supplying? To end users, customers, where they are unregistered persons. That means the transaction is what type of nature? B2C. In that case, e-invoice not required. Mentioning of dynamic, the QR code is relevant or also be not relevant. This question has been asked in the recent examination. You get my point, sir? The question is a transaction B2C, e-invoice required to issue by supplier, but transaction is B2C, where e-invoice not required to issue for that supply by the supplier. If so, QR code is required to mention. The law here is not required to mention. Why not required to mention? It is not relevant. It is not going to be generated the e-invoice. E-invoice generating the portal through which dynamic QR code will generate. Now, I am not using the portal for my B2C transaction where e-invoice not required. But if the value of supply, higher values to get payment, B2C, higher values to get the payment through digital mode, the supplier mentioning the QR code for easy getting the payment. Strictly speaks, B2C transactions for higher values, QR code given by the banker to the vendor will be mentioned. B2C, where e-invoice not required cases, normal cases, QR code not required to mention. Get my point, sir? This point also be asked in the exam of recently. Now please come back. Having this criteria requirement, we came to know e-invoice mandatory if the taxable supplies a transaction is a B2B. If so, we know the portals through which we are going to generate now e-invoice. Now we are in the port, in the GST infrastructure portal. There, step 1, step 2. First, step 1, using the billing or ERP software package, because it is required. Software package, ERP package is the minimum requirement. Unless otherwise you have a customized tools other than ERP package. Online system, software as per the prescribed format for e-invoice, where invoice creation, yes, taken place. Upload of invoices on IRP portal. This is an invoice which is called tax invoice. Tax invoice you generated, soft copy, but it is not e-invoice. That further processed to uploading into IRP. Invoice, for the want of invoice reference number. uploading of invoice or IRP portal with a JSON format file. Each B2B invoices along with IRN is uploaded on the invoice registration number, invoice registration number portal, invoice registration not number, invoice registration portal. Further, IRP validation of invoice information, invoice reference or registration portal, invoice registration portal will validate the invoice uploaded properly is there or not. Means what? GST number of supplier, GST number of recipient properly is there, valid, and file the JSON format, upload an invoice reference number and QR code. So here what happened, when the tax invoice is there with us, tax invoice means this invoice is a tax invoice. It is not e-invoice, tax invoice. Tax invoice, where the seller name, seller GST number must, buyer name, buyer registry number must, which is very important, and the description of the goods, the code and values, and GST shown separately, the tax invoice. Now, when it generated in our ERP package, this soft copy of invoice further processed in the IRP, invoice registration portal, to get IRN number, invoice reference number. That is called this IRN. See here visible, this much is the IRN number. And system further, when you generating the e-invoice with help of invoice, system will provide to you e-invoice. This is called as dynamic QR code. This QR code what generated through system, through the GST invoice, gst.gov.in invoice is there na, invoice 1, 2, 3 portals through which you generating this particular e-invoice, containing dynamic QR code. This dynamic QR code is must when the transaction is a B2B, and IRN number is must to treat it as a e-invoice. If dynamic code is not there, IRN reference not there, it is only a tax invoice. Get my point, sir? When coming to B2C, IRN number, reference number obviously not there, because it's not generating through system, IRP, invoice registration portal, we are not generating. Then IRN number won't be there. Then dynamic QR code also won't be there. However, B2C transactions, higher values, QR code can be mentioned, which is obtained by the vendor from his banker to get a digital mode of payment. If normal values, lesser values, B2C transactions where e-invoice not required to generate, not required to mention QR code. You get my point, sir? This is what question number one, question number one, the multiple choice questions, examiner for 30 marks mandatorily asking, one of the point is this, A, B, C, D, you answer it. B2C transactions for normal lesser values, e-invoice not required, mentioning of QR code also not required. For higher values, mention the QR code of the banker, allotted to the vendor. That's it. Is it clear? Now, when you generate through particular IRP portal, invoice registration portal, IRN number generated, invoice reference number, through which ask generate what? Dynamic QR code. Dynamic QR code it is. Fine. Then e-invoice data to suppliers ERP. Portal will send digitally signed JSON format invoice file along with the IRN, invoice reference number, along with the QR code back to the supplier. The invoice portal will be providing with the IRN number and QR code. Now it is what? E-invoice. Here only the phenomena, dynamic nature of transaction take place. I am telling you by referring, I am going to refer the steps. Once the IRN number is generated with QR code, what is going to happen now, my dear sir? Supplier for the tax period of, for example, August month 2025, he generated 250 invoices through e-invoice. 250 invoices once generated through e-invoice, that supplier required to file GST1 return by 11th of the subsequent month, namely September month for the August month. When you go to the GST1 return and open all these 250 invoices what you generated through e-invoice is auto populating there. That means invoice number wise auto populating, supplier name, buyer GST registration number wise, GST number wise is populating. Otherwise what happened? Going on you have typed in GST1. If 250 transactions you can type for a month. If we say 2,500 invoices, you are a big person, man. Then so many invoices going on manual type in GST1 return. See, B2B transactions, details should be shown in the GST1 return invoice wise, recipient, GST number wise. You get my point, sir? So that job taken care by the portal, invoice portal. One point clear? Now 250 invoices I generated in the month of August. All the 250 is auto populated GST1 return, invoice wise and buyer name, buyer GST number wise. Is clear? I have to verify all these things are there. Yes, fine. Then I have to manually type only for B2C transactions for which e-invoice not required. Get my point, sir? That invoices I can able to type and mention in that. That invoices values can be shown consult values in the GST1. If B2C transaction, B2C transactions, intrastate supply, B2C transactions, intrastate supply. Then what I have to do is 5% GST, how many sales? 12% GST, how many sales? 18% GST, how many invoices? The 28% GST, how many invoices? Tax rate wise, consolidated value of invoices can be shown. Not required to show buyer name wise. Reason, buyer not eligible to claim IDC. Why? Buyer has no GST number. Because the transaction is a B2C transaction. A transaction, B2C transaction, consolidated value of invoices tax rate wise can be shown in the GST1 return. Is clear? What about, sir, interstate supply? Interstate supply also, to understand person, if we made those value of invoices also can be shown consolidated values in the GST1 return tax rate wise with one condition. Those invoices, each invoice should not exceed value 1 lakh rupee. Should not exceed 1 lakh rupee. If exceed 1 lakh rupee for interstate supply B2C transaction, each invoice should be shown separately buyer name wise, invoice number wise. With regard to intrastate supply, consolidated values can be shown where the B2C transaction irrespective of the value of invoice. Interstate supply in the GST1 return, when you're going to show, consolidated values can be shown each invoice value up to rupees 1 lakh. Those invoices can be consolidated, tax rate wise can be shown. Is an amendment, sir. Earlier it was 2.5 lakh. Now reduced to 1 lakh. If exceeds 1 lakh, those invoices should be shown detailed invoice wise in the GST1 return if the transaction is dash type of transaction, interstate outward supplies, B2C transactions. Is clearer, my dear friends? Online students, clearer, Raja? Quickly, fast, respond to me.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now please come back. Now referring furthermore, sir, one more phenomena from e-invoice. These 250 invoices, I said, na, uploaded during the month of August through e-invoice portal, e-invoice generated. One phenomena, auto-populating just one return. One more biggest phenomena, highly useful. The values exceeded rupees 50,000, each invoice values, for which e-way bill required to generate. Automatically, EWB01 e-way bill part A is also be generating in e-way bill portal. E-way bill portal, e-invoice portal now interlinked. E-way bill portal, e-invoice portal is interlinked. As a result, EWB01 part A e-way bill also be generated. Part A, information of the concern or consignee. Once part A is generated, EWB01 for e-way bill, part B will be filled within 15 days from the date of generating of EWB01 part A by the transporter by filling the transport details part B. Once part B is filled up and uploaded in the e-way bill portal, e-way bill generated. So such e-way bill, part of the e-way bill is generated through e-invoice portal automatically. And one more phenomenon, the e-invoice copy will sent by the e-invoice portal to the buyer email ID, registered email ID. So buyer will get the e-invoice then and there the moment generated through e-way bill portal, namely IRP portal, invoice registration portal. You get my point, sir? Got the clarity? How many e-invoice portals we have? 6 portals we have. Got the clarity? Now in the given case, if you refer the invoice here, one of the important point, HSN, look at HSN means what? HSN, Harmonized System of Nomenclature, where minimum 6 digits of HSN should be mentioned in case of supply of goods whose aggregate turnover exceeded 5 crore. If not exceed 5 crores, minimum is 4 digits should be disclosed in the invoice, tax invoice. Option only B2C transaction. B2C transaction where the turnover not exceeded 5 crores, he is not required to mention HSN number. Repeating, B2C transaction, turnover not exceeded 5 crores, he only relaxed, not required to mention HS number in the invoice. Otherwise, if a supply of service, SAC, Service Accounting Code, SAC should be mentioned, which is 6 digits, should be mentioned. If the turnover more than 5 crores or less than 5 crores, as the case may be, 6 digits should be mentioned in case of SAC, services supply. Sir, what happened? HSN required to be mentioned but not mentioned. HSN required to be mentioned but not mentioned. SAC code required to be mentioned but not mentioned. That is offense. The supplier liable to pay penalty for that, and the buyer of that particular invoices not eligible to claim ITC. Denial of ITC takes place. You being a practicing chartered accountant, if the department appointed you under section 66 as a special auditor, you should take care of all these things, whether the invoice on which GST availed is a proper invoice or not, valid invoice or not, the invoice containing the relevant features are there or not. You get my points. This and all, it is your responsibility as an auditor to safeguard the interest of the department. For whom e-invoice not required to be? E-invoice not required if it is a unregistered taxpayers. Taxpayers who are not registered under GST are not required to generate e-invoice. First of all, for them, not required to generate a tax invoice. You are an uninsured person, Raja. For you, not applicable e-invoice, first of all. Even tax invoice is not applicable. Is clear? Then tax payment with a turnover below threshold limit. What threshold limit? 5 crores. For them, e-invoice not applicable. Taxpayers making supplies to unregistered persons B to C not required to generate e-invoice. Further, e-invoice not required to be generated or e-invoice is exempted, meaning what? You are a registered person, turnover exceeded 5 crores, in spite of that you are exempted. The earlier one not required category. E-invoice, e-invoice is not required. They are not relevant to issue the e-invoice. Now you are turnover exceeded 5 crores, but you are exempted from the payment of from the issuance of e-invoice. One very important, sir. This question also asked in examination. Explain the persons for whom e-invoice is not applicable even though the turnover exceeded 5 crores. Special economic zone units. Understand. Who is a special economic zone unit? Means a unit got license from the government of India to have a unit in the special economic zone territory. That means, for example, we have in Chennai MEPS, Madras Export Processing Zone, MEPS. Like that in Kerala, Kakanad. You get my point, sir? Mansilai, Kakanad is a SEZ unit. Do not know. Update yourself. No problem. So, a special economic zone you need to understand. I know you people know something about that, but requires some explanation here. Dear, look here, a specified designated area which is in India. We have Chennai. This area called Madras Export Processing Zone. In this area, my dear, we have here exit, we have here in and exit. Get the point, sir? Now, here one unit called X Limited. Here one unit called Y Limited. Here one unit called Z Limited. X Limited, Y Limited, Z Limited got a license from Government of India to have a unit in the designated area. This area, the entire area is called as separate island within the territory of India. It's called what? A separate island within the territory of India. Now I can say that X Limited, Y Limited, Z Limited are called what type of units? Unit of special economic zone. If you supply from domestic tariff area, what do you mean by domestic tariff area where the tariff apply? For example, in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, T Nagar. T Nagar is a domestic tariff area. Chennai is a India is a domestic tariff area. Enter India, domestic tariff area, except special economic zone, except EOU units. Remaining all we call what? A domestic tariff area where the tariff applies. Now, a DTA unit, ABC Limited, ABC Limited from Chennai, if they supply the goods to Y Limited, goods sold, it is called what? export of goods will attract zero rate, and this fellow should submit bill of shipping bill, should submit shipping bill for supply the goods. If this company clear the goods sold, seller is SH unit, buyer is DT unit, it is called what? Import of goods. DT unit should submit bill of entry to clear the goods. DTA unit liable to pay import duty. Such units are called what? A special economic zone unit. So such units, X limited, Y limited, Z limited, if their turnover exceeded 5 crores, for them, for their supplies, they are not required to issue e-invoice. However, this e-invoice not required to issue is only for special economic zone unit, not to special economic developer. Who is a special economic zone developer? There must be a road. There must be a road should be constructed. There must be infrastructure, the building, the property should be constructed. There must be drinking water facility, drainage facility. These are not providing by a company within the zone. Special economic zone developer. For a special economic zone developer, if the turnover exceeded 5 crores in the previous year, for them in the current year e-invoice is mandatory. E-invoice not mandatory only for special economic zone unit, but not to special economic zone developer. Is clear? Now there may be a case like this. Let us say I said to you X limited has 2 units, unit A, unit B, unit A special economic zone unit, unit B DT unit but belongs to one company. The turnover here 4 crore, turnover here 2 crores. What is the aggregate turnover? 6 crores, more than 5 crores. E-way bill applicable or not, sorry, e-invoice applicable or not applicable means clarification given by CBSE. Yes, e-invoice mandatory for DTA unit. E-invoice required, mandatory, but for this unit e-invoice not mandatory, not required. You get my point, sir? This question is going to come in the exam. Further, come back. Insurance companies, banking companies, NBFCs, for them e-invoice not applicable, irrespective of their turnover. They are exempt from the payment of from the issue of e-invoice. They should issue tax invoice. Goods transport agency, transportation of goods, transport of passenger sector operators, e-invoice not required. My name is Navata, GTA. Turnover in the previous year 8 crores. For me, e-invoice mandatory? No, exempted. Sir, my name is Sharma Travels. My turnover in the previous year is 12 crores. I am in transportation of passenger sector, sir. E-invoice not applicable. Passengers as well as goods. Cinema exhibitors, multi-screen exhibitors, they used to sell the tickets through online, especially through. Get my point, sir? In such cases, for them, e-invoice not required issue, irrespective of the turnover. Government department, central government, state government, its departments, local authorities, Greater Chennai Corporation, one of the example, or a municipality, a corporation, or a particular cantonment board, or a particular panchayat, for them, e-invoice not applicable. Now there is a question arises here. Now look on the screen. I am a registered person. My name is Mr. Raj. Raj Limited. Raj Limited, registered person. Turnover in the previous year more than 5 crores. Such a Raj Limited supply the goods to government department, to GST department, E-invoice mandatory or not? Raj Limited turnover in the previous year more than 5 crores. In the current year, he supplied the goods to GST department. Furniture he supplied. Furniture supplied. E-invoice mandatory or not? This is clarified. ஐயா புரிஞ்சுக்கோங்க. Government department, local authorities, e-invoice not applicable if they are suppliers. You get my point? If they are suppliers. If they are recipients supplied by some other party, here X Limited, registered person, aggregated more than 5 crores in Chennai, he supplied taxable goods, for example, to government departments. Let us say education department, commerce department, health department, justice, namely to judiciary, defense, state, foreign affairs ministries, agriculture department, labor department, interior department, treasury department, transportation department of the government departments. If I supply to government department, for me, e-invoice applicable or not? Well applicable. I am a supplier. I am not a government. If X Limited is a government, then e-invoice not applicable. Get my point, sir? This is also clarification by CBSE. And one more clarification here, which I require to be bring to notice. Sir, for a banking company, e-invoice applicable? I just have told to you, not applicable. Very good. Now, they are what type of a supply? Goods and services? Services. Very good. Now, I refer to you rule number 32, sub rule number 5, margin method, where a banker given the loan under hypothecation, the person who taken loan defaulted, the banker repossesses that particular stock, then selling through auction. I said or not? For the banking company, it is not possible to avail. Therefore, for them, what is relevant? Margin method only. Is clear? Now the banker selling the goods. If so, for the bank, for selling that goods, e-invoice mandatory? No doubt the turnover is more than 5 crores. Turnover of the banker more than 5 crores. If the banker issued the invoice, banker sold that goods. See, the example given what? To whom given? To banking company, because they are providing services. Now they are supplying dash goods. If they supplied goods along with the service, if they supply the goods, e-invoice required? Question mark. E-invoice required? Question mark. Clarification given by CBSE. Just because of the service provider banking company got an occasion to supply the goods, exemption granted not to issue e-invoice will continue to apply. As a result, even though banking company supply the goods, e-invoice not applicable. Got the clarity? Further, e-invoice. If a supply is made online money gaming, supply made by or through e-commerce operator or by supplier of OIDR services to uninsured persons in India, the tax invoice to contain the name of the state of the recipient irrespective of the supply. We understand this point. Pay supply rule number 46, class F, supply of OIDR services, supply access to internet, or supply of goods, online money gaming. In all the three cases, irrespective of the value, recipient name and the recipient state name should be mentioned. Yes or no? We refer in the last classes. If so, revenue sharing will take place. Is an amendment for our September 25 exam, CA final. Well applicable in the exam. This is what I am repeating here. Supply of online money gaming or OIDR or OTT services through internet supplied to unregistered persons, irrespective of the value, the name of the address of the buyer should be there. At least the buyer name along with the recipient state name should be mentioned. State name is mentioned, the state name of the recipient deemed to be the address of the recipient for revenue sharing, GST sharing purpose. This point I am just referred here for your kind consideration because I drawn this attention from irrespective of the value. Is clear, sir? Which rule I mentioned? Rule 46 class F. Now, in that case, for them, here if you refer here, the same I have been mentioned here again. The name and address of the recipient along with the his PIN code is not mandatory to be declared on the tax invoice. This what they got amended with this manner. The same shall be deemed to be the address of the one. Now, for such type of suppliers, OIDR wala or online money gaming supplier, if they are liable to pay tax or not, OIDR when liable to pay? Supplied B2C from outside India into India to uninsured person. Who liable to pay GST? OIDR wala. Online money gaming supply of goods, B2B or B2C, who liable to pay GST? Online money gaming wala liable to pay GST, supplier. In that case, e-invoice applicable for them if the turnover exceeds 5 crores, yes, applicable to them also. They are in India to pay the GST, am I right or not? They should have to have represented in India to pay the GST. Therefore, e-invoice mandatory. For them, e-invoice not exempted. This question going to come in the exam. Now tell me who are they for whom e-invoice not required? One, the threshold limit not exceed 5 crores, supplied B2C, or the supply is basically exempted from the payment of exempted supplies, B2, exempted supply, even B2B, supply exempted nature, not a good issue, e-invoice. Further, we to refer the following persons, special economic zone units. 2, the banking company, insurance company or NBFCs. 3, transportation of goods. 4, transportation of passengers. 5, government sectors, government departments, local authorities. For them, e-invoice not applicable. Got the clarity? So with this I can say that the invoice concept I to referred here by bringing notice almost all the points. So with this, I can say that e-invoice is completed. Now moving on to e-way bill chapter. As I told you sometime before yesterday to you, we have a list of chapters to complete today. One is e-invoice, I said. Thereafter, I said to you e-way bill. Thereafter, TDS, TCS. Thereafter, payment of tax. If time permits, returns on GST. Returns under GST. If I compare today, we left out 3 days, including this 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. So excluding this, 3 days are left over. So tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I'm going to take advanced concepts like demand, recovery, appeals, assessment, proceedings. I will consider tomorrow, day after tomorrow. And the last day of the class, hopefully I will allocate for customs and FTP. So I want to complete the entire syllabus to the extent possible from the exam point of view. So now take up e-way bill, electronic way bill. Which is coming from the part 2, volume number 2, not part 1 for your kind consideration. Section 68. Read with rule number 138. E-way bill. Very important chapter it is. Referring to the e-way bill. Sir, when the goods are transported, especially not only by road, by air or by rail, as long as transportation of goods, basically taxable goods, at interstate level, the value exceed rupees 50,000, e-way bill mandatory. When I say 50,000, what it includes, what it excludes, very important to note. In the given case, I am bringing to notice what it includes and what it excludes means it includes the following values. What are they? They are as follows. Very, very important, sir. That is relevant to note. The value includes taxable supplies. The value includes GST on such supplies. 50,000 value here. Look here. 50,000 includes value derived as per section 15 followed by GST taxes thereon or declared in an invoice, a bill of supply, delivery challan, as the case may be. Further, CGST, SGST or UTGST values. Why bill of supply, sir? Means if I am a composition taxpayer, I issue the bill of supply. I am not going to collect the GST from my buyer, but it is not exempted. I am liable to pay GST. So it's still taxable goods only. So plus GST, whatever may be there. So all together, for example, look here straight away. Example 1, Mr. P from Punjab supply the goods to G of Gujarat, where the value of the goods is 45,000 exclusive of the GST, namely IGST, 18%. 18% GST, how much comes? 45,000, 18% GST is equal to how much? Quickly, fast. 8,100. If so, you have to include that 45,000 plus 8,100. 8,100. 100 is equal to how much? 53,100. More than rupees 50,000. Interstate taxable supply of goods. E-way bill is mandatory. Get my point, sir? So further, e-way bill also be mandatory irrespective of the value of the goods if the goods are transported by road, by rail, by vessel, by whatever may be the mode of transportation which you permitted to transport, where e-way bill is mandatory in the case where the goods sent by the job under the job work by the principal to the job worker at interstate level, irrespective of the value of the goods, e-way bill is mandatory. If the goods are supplied, which is basically handicraft goods are basically exempt goods. But here only the law very clearly says, hey Mr. Supplier of handicraft goods, we know that your supply is exempted supply from the payment of GST. In spite of that, if you supply that goods at interstate level, you must mandatorily generate the e-way bill. Then the supplier asking, sir, as per section 23, as per section 23 subsection 1, a person who supplied wholly exempted goods are exempted from the payment from the registration. No sir, so I'm an unregistered person sir, how can I generate the e-way bill sir? For you, special procedure provision has been introduced now, which is applicable for the September 2025 CA final examination as an amendment. What you should do, I will refer to you, then I will show you, because I'm not interested in read the contents. Listen to me. Handicraft goods supplier is exempt from registration. Even he supply the goods to other state, he is exempted from section 24 class 1. Section 24 class 1 says what? Interstate outward taxable of goods, even 1 rupee, registration is mandatory. Get my point, sir? That from that provision, this handicraft goods supplier is got exempted. As a result, as a whole, handicraft goods supplier, whether he supply the goods to intrastate supply or interstate supply, exempted from the registration, exempted from the payment of GST. Such a person, if supply the handicraft goods to other state, irrespective of the value of the goods, e-way bill is what? Mandatory. If it is so, the law of the land today says, hey Mr. unregistered person supplying handicraft goods at interstate level, you please log in the GST portal, you give your personal information, meaning what? Your name, your address, your PAN number, your Aadhaar numbers, the credentials, your mail ID, your registration numbers, the basic information you have to upload into that particular network portal, not for registration. Network portal, you have to give your authentication. Yarni, you please come and have your information should be provided. Once you given the information, system will allot you a unique enrollment number. Speak out. Unique enrollment number. Taking that unique enrollment number, which is generated from the system, use that number in the case of while generating e-way bill. While generating e-way bill, submit e-way bill portal. There, your status, unregistered person. Then system will ask, mention your unique enrollment number, which you got from GST network portal. You mention it. Then you are entitled to generate e-way bill. And such generation of e-way bill for that unregistered person obtaining unique enrollment number from network portal made mandatory. But not a registration, it is identification. The transaction should not be made by an unknown person. Unregistered person must be a person or not. Therefore, disclose it, your information, where you exist, where you are operating the business, what is your PAN number. Thereby, what happened now? Department, what they do know? You give the PAN number, no? GST department, there is a GST intelligence wing. Oh, this fellow, what is his bank transactions? What is the amount of turnover he reported in the income tax return, and what is the bank turnover, and any transaction is made other than the handicraft goods, any other supply he made, then in that case registration become mandatory. Then the department, by doing the back end process, having the information, they send the notice. Therefore, when you are dealing with the department GST portal, be clear with your transactions. You have to round up yourself. Not only GST department look for GST point of view, a holistic point of view they look. How long you submit the return, income return submit or not. If you submit, what is the reporting, what is the bank transaction, how many banks you have, what are the transaction turnover transactions, and what type of goods you supplied, who are the buyers from whom you got the payment, and to that buyers they will have link to access whether this fellow supplied only handicraft goods. In the name of handicraft goods he supplied the electronic goods. Get my point, sir? So there are so many. If the department got doubt, definitely they will go with this information. Therefore, you being an uninsured person without having unique enrollment ID, you cannot generate the e-way bill. It's an amendment. Now I'm going to show that from the our institute supplementary is there. In your material also given. In your material also given. This one, Raja. In the study material, not study material, CA Final Indirect Tax Laws, paper number 5, amendments applicable for September 2025 examination. This is the sheet. In that, generation of unique enrollment number. When a supplier is being a unregistered person, supplier is a unregistered person supplying handicraft goods, that too at interstate level, e-way bill is mandatory and the person should obtain unique element number from the GST network portal. With that, you can generate e-way bill. Sir, I am not a handicraft goods supplier, sir, but I am a I am a unregistered person, sir. Why unregistered person? Sir, my turnover not exceeded. Turnover not exceeded. Turnover not exceeded threshold limit for registration. Now I am not supplying other states, sir. I want to supply from Chennai to Coimbatore, sir. My state government said value exceed 1 lakh rupee, e-way bill mandatory. State government I am talking. Then I am uninsured person. How can I generate e-way bill? Same concept. You uninsured person? Huh? Yes, sir. Open the network portal. Give your basic personal information. And system will, once gone through that information, it generates, auto-generate a unique enrollment number. How that number? Open the e-way bill portal, separate portal it is there. In that you upload the information and give mandatorily unique enrollment number. Then you are in a position to generate the EWB01 part A. And the same can be handed over to transporter to generate the EWB01 part B. Once EWB01 part B generated and submitted and generated in the system, e-way bill validity commence only after uploading EWB01 part B, not part A. Part A only generated, part B not generated, e-way bill not commences. E-way bill not generated. If a transporter carrying that e-way bill without generating the part B of EWB01, only with part A is carrying, department is in a position to detain your vehicle. If found no e-way bill, proper e-way bill under section 129, the department going to be seize that vehicle, seize that goods. Vehicle also will seize, goods also seize. Penalty, huge penalty. If the taxable goods. Of course, taxable goods. 200% of the tax. Owner if come forward. Owner not come forward. Oh, owner not come forward. In that case, 50% of the value of the goods or 200% of the tax, whichever is higher, is the penalty. If the goods worth rupees 100 lakhs, 50%, 50 lakhs, or 200% of the tax, assume 50 lakhs is higher amount. That much a penalty. To release what? Seized goods. So, I will refer that in offense penalties. For the time being, why I invited that concept means importance of e-waybill to bring to a notice, nothing else. Now, please come back. Actually, where we are? We are in the initial stage of e-waybill, where we just understanding the concept of e-waybill. So, e-waybill is required for 3 cases. The value exceeds 50,000 interstate outward supplies. 2. Interstate outward supply by the principal to the job worker and the job work, mandatory e-waybill. In the case of handicraft goods supplying interstate level, e-waybill is mandatory. Though he may be an uninsured person, e-waybill should be generate. How to generate? I refer to you with the amendment. Get my point, sir? Now please come back. When we talk about EWB01, as I told you, it has part A, part B. Part A containing the information of the consignee, part B containing the information of the transporter, lorry number, the particular origination, destination is under. Now, from part A to part B, time limit has been prescribed 15 days maximum. Within 15 days, part B not filled up after part A generated, part A will be invalid again for generate part A. Further, there is a concept called as consolidated e-waybill. There is a concept called as consolidated e-waybill. Sometimes hanging. Now okay. What do you mean by consolidated e-waybill? Simple, Raja. There is a trick. I will visualize you. If you are able to catch hold, catch hold. Is a trick. X, load the goods. What rupees? 40,000. B, load the goods. 20,000. Individually not exceeding 50,000, but total that particular goods carrying how much? More than 50,000. In that case, consolidated e-waybill concept comes into picture. Neither X nor B will issue the e-waybill part A. Mr. Transporter should generate e-waybill, EWB01, part A information, consignee information. How the transporter will come to know? He has invoice copy. With that, upload part A, uploaded, sir. Part B, transport information, upload, sir. Individually, there must be 2 e-waybills, EWB01 for X, EWB01 for B, part A, part A. Then this part B is filled up. Thereafter, part EW01, part A, part B filled up for X, EWB01, part A, part B filled for B. These two are into one particular folder. The folder name is called consolidated e-waybill. If you open the folder, inside EWB01 for X goods, EWB01 for B goods. Get my person is a briefcase to carry the bunch of e-waybills in one particular folder. We call it as a consolidated e-waybill. Is clear? Now, further referring here, bill to ship to model, where there are 2 sellers. there are two invoices. Here Ram, here Ram is involved as placing the order to Rahim. Rahim here is seller, and the Ram here is buyer. Ram requested, hey Mr. Rahim, could you supply the goods on behalf of me to my buyer who is Robert? Rahim said, why not, sir? Give the address. I will prepare invoice. Seller, Rahim. Buyer, Ram. Consignee, Robert, in invoice. And goods shipped to Robert, billing to Ram. Therefore, seller, Rahim, has invoice, one invoice. Seller invoice. Correct? After that, Ram asking over phone, hey Robert, have you got the goods? Yes sir, I got the goods. Invoice anupare. I'm sending invoice now. So Ram is the seller, Robert is the buyer. There are two invoices. From Ram, one invoice. From Rahim, one invoice. Ram, second invoice, two invoices. But one consignment only. Transport. How many e-way required? C basic clarified. One e-way bill only required, though there are multiple invoices. For one transaction alone, it is one transaction, there are two invoices generated. So one e-way bill sufficient. Who can generate? Ram can generate, being a seller to Robert, or Rahim can generate, being a seller to Ram. You get my point, sir? Anyone can generate the e-way bill, but one e-way bill only. Further, I have my own transport sending the goods from head office Hyderabad to branch office Bangalore to my branch at interest level. The value of the goods rupees 60,000. My own truck. E-way bill required. Even though own truck e-way bill required. When not required, if the goods are exempted, other than handicraft goods, other than the job work, then it is okay. Not required to generate. Even I am telling you, my dear, e-way bill is required to generate for the reasons other than the supply. Repeating, for the reasons important to note. For the reasons other than supply. What do you mean for the reason other than the supply? Means, I will tell you. 1. Goods sent on job work, goods sent on sale or approval basis. 3. Get my point, sir? Goods sent on sale or approval basis. Supply by recipient to supplier freely. What? Aware of that or not? Section 15, Section 2, Class B. So these are all the cases are goods sent for repair during warranty period, which is not a supply, no, or it's supplying base. So these are all the cases what for the reasons and supply. For these cases also, e-way bill is mandatory. Get my point, sir? Only I given illustrative list it is. Loudly? Goods returned also for the reason other than supply. Goods movement ayya, but that movement of the goods not amounted to supply. All will be called as a for reasons other than the supply. For this also, it will be mandatory because these and all taxable nature goods, not exempted nature goods. You get my point? Supply for reasons other than supply is also required mandatory e-way bill if the value exceeds rupees 50,000. In the case of job work, sent for job work purpose, interest rate level, irrespective of the value, e-way bill mandatory. Is clear as sir? Now please come back. Now here you see one consignor Sundar, one consignee Gada Electronics. Sundar from Gujarat, consignor. Gada from Mumbai, consignee. Transporter carrying 3 different invoices. Each invoice 80,000, 1,40,000. Here 1,20,000. 3 different invoices load into one particular truck. 3 consignments, 3 different boxes. Consignment number 1, consignment number 2, consignment number 3. Each one 80,000, 1,40,000, 1,20,000. Supplier is one person, recipient is one person. All the goods are carrying in one particular truck, but there are 3 invoices. 3 different invoices. Am I required to issue 3 different e-way bills or not required to issue 3 different EW01s? It is one EW01 sufficient. This question has been addressed by the CBSE. E-way bill should be generated invoice wise. Invoice wise. Here EWB 01. How many times sir? 3 invoices are required. 3 EW01s required. And all the 3 EW01s can be merged into one basket called as consolidated invoice, e-way bill. Get my point, sir? The law here says each invoice, one e-way bill has to be generated irrespective of the same or different consignors or consignees. However, after generating all the EW01s, one consolidated e-way bill can be prepared for transportation purpose if they are going in one particular vehicle. Is clear, sir? Further, sir, I said to you, e-way bill is mandatory for transportation of goods by road, by vessel, by aircraft, by rail. But here it is by rail. It is by air. Here vessel. Is clear? What is the exact difference between transportation of goods in a particular vehicle, by road? How this different from these 3 means? If the goods transport by vehicle, the transporter you have to carry along with you EWB 01. You have to carry along with you EW01. Whereas by rail, by aircraft, through vessel, if the goods supplying, e-way bill not required to accompanied along with that particular transport. But at the end of the destination, the consignee taking that goods, that time e-way bill must be present. Hey, railway authorities, you should not grant goods to take over by the consignee unless you submit EWB01. You get my point, sir? There's a major difference. Because if the vessel flying higher heights, sky. Department officer cannot fly there. Hey, stop the vehicle, I want to verify. What to stop it? Possible, practically impossible. Therefore, at the same time, a department officer cannot go and stop the train. Train runs based on the signaling. Red, green, signal yellow. It follows. Not as per office instruction. Stop the vehicle. I want to verify e-way bill. Not possible. Therefore, by rail, by air, by vessel, if goods has been transported, e-way bill not required to accompany along with the transport. That means e-way bill not required to generate before the commencement of the movement of the particular goods. Whereas by transportation of goods by road, before the movement of the goods, e-way bill must generate. Carry along with that. Here, transporter, you are responsible on account of non-submission of e-way bill during transit. We are going to seize your vehicle under section 129. Seizure and detention and seizure takes place. Get my points? Now, please come back. Further, e-way bill. Can cancel the e-way bill. E-way bill can cancel? Yes. When can cancel? Within 24 hours of generation of e-way bill can be cancelled. Meaning what? EWB 01 in that part A generated on 1st January 2025. Part B generated on 10th January 2025. 24 hours second from 1st January or 10th January? 10th January, because e-way bill EW01 part B uploaded, then only e-way bill generated. From the date of generation of e-way bill, within 24 hours can able to cancel that e-way bill. Why sir cancelling? Sir, the moment the goods dispatch, within 2 hours time, cyclone has been declared, sir. It is on the way, sir. If we reach to the destination, before reaching destination, the vehicle may be going to merge with the Bay of Bengal, sir. Because of cyclone, sir. We can't able to move, sir. Then come back. Come back the vehicle. Then e-way bill generated, no? It should be reversed, cancelled. If not cancelled, what happened, no, sir? For information, you should be know it is your cup of tea at final level. Visualization, back-end process. In your GST number, this e-way bills what you generated, reporting in the department place. Reporting in the department place. When you submit tomorrow annual return, GSTR 9, your turnover should be matched with the turnover of your GSTR 3B returns. These two turnovers should match with the e-way bill generated by you turnover. Mismatching query comes. You have to give explanation. That explanation is called reconciliation. GSTR 9C. If you are not able to explain properly by not reconciling, then to the extent of differential amount, the department will demand you to pay the GST. If EWB values throughout the year is 2 crores, you reported in the GSTR 3B and your books, which is GSTR 9, is 1.5 crore. Difference how much? 50 lakhs. They will ask for this. No proper explanation. On 50 lakhs, GST will apply with the interest liability you have to pay. We are facing for our clients coming with sir, they are comparing the EWB 01 turnover with our GST 3B turnover. Obviously, you cannot have different reportings. If you have different reportings, give explanation. In the absence of not giving the explanation, which is not satisfactory to the department officer, he will impose the tax thereon. This is what the duty of the department officer. Get my points. So you being an auditor, handling the client data information as an auditor, You keep all in this matter, ensuring that properly reporting in all the places. Get my point, sir? Now please come back. What happened if I generate the e-way bill? Is it has any validity period? The law of the land here says yes. E-way bill has validity. From the date of generation of e-way bill, for a distance of each 200 kilometers, 1 day. Part of the number of kilometers also 1 day. For example, whether 500 kilometers distance. Today I generate e-way bill. Sir, generation of e-way bill can be generated anytime. Today morning 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock, afternoon 1 o'clock, evening 6 p.m. During the day you can generate any day. That validity of 1 day for each 200 kilometers ends next day midnight. Next day midnight. Now distance of 500 kilometers. Today what date? August 8th August 2025. 8/8/2025. Correct? Today at what time now? The time is 11:30. At 11:30 a.m. we generate the EAW01 part A, part B, filled up and uploaded. It generated 500 kilometer distance. That 500 kilometer distance e-way bill validity ends on what time? Today what? 8. Next day 9. 9th midnight 1 day. 10th midnight 1 day. Thereafter 10th 11th midnight 1 day. You get my point, sir? 3 days. Why 3 days to take in? 500 kilometers, sir. Each 200 kilometers. How many days, sir? 1 day. 200, 1 day. 200, 1 day. Balance 100 days, sir? Not 100. 200 kilometers, 1 day. Second 200 kilometers, 1 day. 400 kilometers. Left out how many kilometers, sir? 100 kilometers, 1 day. So together how much? 3 days. 500 kilometers, 3 days. 9th August, 10th August, 11th August midnight. That 3 why it will be ends. This type of questions are there in the examination. If it is a over-dimensional cargo, it cannot be go like rocket speed. Slowly it will go because safety reason. For each 20 kilometers, 1 day. How many? Each 20 kilometers 1 day. Or part of 20 kilometers also 1 day. Get my point, sir? If it is a 30 kilometers, how many days? Validity? 2 days. Over-dimensional cargo or multimodal shipment, where one leg is at least one leg is through ship, part of the distance by road, part of the distance through sea in a vessel, and there is a destination. In that manner, if there means multimodal shipment. Here also 20 kilometers 1 day. You get my point, sir? Sir, in the given case, 5 days, because 200 kilometers each day, 500 kilometers, that value ends on 11th midnight, sir. But we are unable to reach, sir, the destination. In that case, can we extend the time period? Yes. Within 8 hours, speak out. Within 8 hours from the time of expiry, within 8 days from the time of expiry of validity period, you can extend. Within 8 hours, from the time of expiry of e-way bill validity, you can extend. Within 24 hours from generation, cancel. Within 8 hours from the time of expiry, you can extend. Validity of period of e-way bill for each 200 kilometers, 1 day. Part of the kilometers of 1 day. If it is a multimodal shipment or multi-dimensional cargoes, over-dimensional cargoes, each 20 kilometers 1 day, a part of the number of kilometers of 1 day. Is clear, sir? Now, I have referred maximum extent. Before going for this, I want to bring certain points here. Important point. Sir, this example I am presenting here in a simplified manner, you understand, bro. In case of two or more transporters involved for one consignment carrying by two or more transporters. Example here, X Limited, seller offered goods, we called what a consignor. Here Y Limited, here is in Chennai, Y Limited, Hyderabad, nothing but a consignee, namely buyer. The goods are moving from Chennai here for origination from Chennai, transporter carrying the goods, transporter X up to this stage, up to Vijayawada. From Vijayawada, transporter Y here, transporter Y carrying that goods to destination Hyderabad. Transporter X, two transporter involved. How many e-way required? One e-way bill, one required. Here, transporter should endorse EWB 01 Part B. Part B information, X is submitted in his GST EW01 when he generated e-way bill. That same e-way bill should hand over to transporter Y. Transporter Y is going to be append down to the transporter X details. He is going to append addition. Button is there. One more transporter, click, new data income. So transporter Y name, transporter vehicle number, that and this from Vijayawada to Hyderabad. And the goods reaching to destination with the same one e-way bill only, EW011 only. Is clear, my dear friends? Clarification from CBSE. This and all I referred from EWB01 e-way bill point of view. Now, if such e-way bill not in place during transit, especially by road, what consequences? The consequences here are as follows. Department officer once detained the vehicle during transit, found no e-way bill, he is in a position to prepare a summary report of every such inspection of the goods in transit. I am highlighting and telling you, e-way bill if not in transit, e-way bill has no importance to verify by department. Department officer cannot verify the e-way bill when the goods are half loaded into the factory. After that, section 129, detention seizure, not possible. Judiciary said, judgments are there. During transit only by road, department can detain that vehicle, called detention, and invoke seizure in the absence of, for example, e-way bill not there. So e-way bill not there. If not there cases, the department officer will report that and preparing through online EWB 03 EWB 03 Part A information summary report I detained at National Highway number 24 so and so vehicle, and prima facie we have not able to found the relevant documentary evidences, especially EWB 01 information. Within 24 hours of inspection, 24 hours from the time of inspection means today morning at 11:40 detain the vehicle, found no e-way bill. 24 hours start from 11:30 am. No, 24 hours from the time of inspection means the day in which you inspected, that day midnight onwards. You see here that 24 hours, the period 24 hours shall be count from the midnight of the date on which the vehicle is intercepted, means detained. See, this is what indirect tax is. Within 24 hours of inspection should upload EWB 03 summary information part A. That 24 hours count start from that day midnight onwards. You get my point? Inniki what date Raja? 8th August 2025 today. 8th August 2025, 11:40 am, department officer detained the vehicle on road. Within 24 hours, he has to upload EWB 03 part A. He uploading next day morning after having tiffin, tea, coffee, at 10 am uploading. Is it valid? Valid only, because the count 24 hours commencing the day in which detention taking place, inspection taking place, that day midnight onwards. Means midnight of today, 24 hours means the next day midnight. You get my point, sir? Is the time limit. Now come back. After that, after summary information is uploaded, by taking 3 more days time from the date of inspection, part B information in EWB 03 shall be recorded full. This much is quantified, this much is the value of the goods, this much is the penalty. EWB 03 within 3 days of inspection. The 3 days of inspection commencing from the day on which inspection taking place, that day midnight onwards. If the 3 days not sufficient, commissioner is empowered to grant further 3 days to upload final summary in EWB 03 part B. Is clear? These and all the questions one can expect in the examination. Now please come back, my dear friends. Looking ahead, if there is a consignment, a particular vehicle carrying goods, there are 35 consignments are there. Out of 35 consignments, here 30 consignments, here they said here valid e-way bill and other relevant documents in respect of 30 consignments, but unable to produce, for which the remaining 5 consignments detention taking place. That means out of 35 consignments, 30 consignments proper, okay, no problem. The balance 5 consignments, no e-way bill. If no e-way bill, what happened? Detention, seizure. Now, what is to detain? Goods, 30 consignments, separate invoices, separate e-way bills are there for 30 consignments that you want to detain, that you want to seize. Sorry, department, you allow to take away the goods. How many units? How many consignments? 30, for which consignment notes are, e-way bills are there. that should not be detained, that should not be seized in that vehicle. The balance, how many consignments are not e-wayable? 5. That 5 consignments you should detain and seize that goods. What about vehicle? Vehicle only one. Entire vehicle also will detain and seize. Entire vehicle also will detain and seize. Now, to release the seized goods, there must be a penalty under section 129. Not only on the owner of the goods, but also on the truck owner. Truck owner also liable to face penalty under 129. You get my point? With this, a detailed discussion on section 129 will be considered under the offences and penalties chapter, not now. You get my points? With this, e-way bill is completed for your batch of rapid revision class for September 2025 CF final especially. These are classes are good enough for September 2025 exams. My dear recorded lecture students who are watching this, for Jan 2026 examination, these classes are expired medicine. I am talking about Jan 2026 exam goers, because there are furthermore amendments are there. These are rapid revision classes, is only fit for September 2025 examination goers at CF final level. Is clear as. See you after 10 minutes break from now to take up with the new chapter called as interest under GST. Interestingly, is clear. You sit this side, comfortable, cool. Reduce that. Yes, reduce it. Reduce. எனக்கு என்னன்னா this side no what happened in the I saw in that particular இப்போ பார்க்கும்போது screen somewhere I'm doing like this in the recording. That's why I requested. You can increase it 27 வச்சுக்கோங்க 27 28 வச்சுக்கோங்க but not 30. You can get the you can ask the gentleman will give the Godrej will be there. Godrej company, no Godrej remote. You can switch off that. Yeah. It is you keep with you and operate it.
Sir, I have it on, sir.
யாருப்பா அது?
Current,
ஆ
current, sir.
கரண். கிளாஸ்க்கு வர மாட்டீங்களா? லைவ் கிளாஸ்க்கு ஆஃப்லைன்.
Sir, I'm working also, so.
சரி 1 மினிட் வெயிட் பண்ணுமா, கொஞ்சம் நான் கேட்குறேன், ஒரு நிமிஷம்.
Sure.
Okay. Shall we start now, my dear? You can keep here, keep here. Why keeping there? உங்கள்கிட்ட வச்சுக்கோ, side by next you can keep. Whenever required, you can operate. Yes. Now I am going to take up interest under GST for delay payment of GST. Section 50, where we have section 50 subsection 1 at the rate of 18% interest per annum. Section 50 subsection 3, where we have 24% per annum interest. And the doubt is asking by one friend. Tell me, Raja.
Sir, one invoice, but there are multiple trucks. So you will create one e-way bill or multiple e-way bills, sir?
One e-way bill. That's what I said, na. Just now said, no, sir, you are not there.
No, I was there, sir, but.
But listen, ma. Why confused? Where? Who said to get confused? Have I said to? So look on the screen. அதுதான் போட்டி காட்டுறானே, போட்டி. இந்த பாரு, அப்பப்போ ஜோக் பண்ணுவேன் ராஜா. யூ டேக் as a friend. யா ஆஸ் எ ஃப்ரெண்ட் பார்த்துக்கோங்க. நான் ஐம் வெல் விஷர் ஆஃப் யுவர்ஸ். அப்பப்போ கொஞ்சம் கலைச்சி விடுவேன் அவங்க, அதுதான். Okay, now here I said, Raja, see how many transporters are there? Transporter X, one transporter, then transporter Y, second transporter. There are 2 trucks are involved, but one invoice. Got the clarity? Then how many e-way bills I said? One e-way bill. Only by endorsing you can transfer. But your case here is, you said one invoice, there are truck 1, truck 2, truck 3 from Chennai to Hyderabad. That is,
Yes, sir.
Now what happened? Here EWB 01, part A information common, part B information is changing. You get my point, sir? In that case, he is asking how many e-way bill. Since one invoice split in 3 trucks, invoice wise e-way bill required. One invoice only. Therefore, one e-way bill sufficient. In that one EWB01, you have to mention part B. Part B, EWB01, transporter A, B, C, or transporter 1, 2, 3. Details should be appended in the part B. Give me a point, sir. Details should be appended in part B. Transporter 1, transporter 2, transporter 3, but EW01 only. That means whichever truck has been detained, ask for details. In that EW01, that truck detail will be there. Apart from that, 2 more truck details will be there. So this is one e-way bill sufficient as per my knowledge is considered. Is clear, sir?
Sir, suppose suddenly on the way, one truck, something happens and it gets repaired. In that case, he will have to shift from that truck to a different truck. Then in that case, what will happen?
Same. The appending with the part EW01 part B, information of the other new truck driver, the details will be uploaded. The truck details will be uploaded. That's it.
Once you generate an e-way bill, you can amend also.
Appending can be done, na? Amend means what? Values amending, concern or consignees, just numbers are different. That is not possible. Transporter details can be uploaded. Sometimes practically happens your case. You said while transporting the machine is the engine of the vehicle is out of order. It became a condemned. Not possible to move in the truck. Shift the other truck. Shift to other truck. And if expiry taking place within 8 hours, extend the validity. Other truck details will be uploaded in the EWB01 part B. Is clear now?
Okay, sir. Done, sir.
Yeah. Now please come back. Referring here to you, the term, the concept, interest for delay payment. Sir, if there is a delay happen, bound to pay the interest even for 1 day of delay, even though there is no what we can call the assessment order for that. That is very important key terminology. Section 75, subsection 9. This point in the examination of CA final, they ask, what is this? Interest on the tax short paid or not paid shall be payable whether or not specified in the order determining the tax liability. Meaning what? In one case, what happened? No, you know, show cause notice. I told you sometimes before. Show cause notice issued under section, for example, 74A, with effect from 1st November 2024. 74 has been introduced. It is an amendment provision applicable for our September 25 examination. This is 74 apply for the financial year 24-25 onwards. Though introduced with effect from 1st November 2024, applicable from the financial year 24-25 onwards. In that case, show cause is containing the following details. Look here. Tax 10 lakhs, interest 2 lakhs, penalty 25,000. Totally 12 lakh 25 rupees. Show cause notice issued. After that, as you are aware of that, from the date of issue of show cause notice, show cause issue time period is 42 months from the relevant date. Relevant date is the date for which, for the financial year for which filing of annual return due date. From that date, 42 months within which show cause issued. Then within 12 months from the show notice should be issued what? OIO. OIO means order excellent in original. Should be issued within 12 months. In order original, tax rupees 10 lakhs only mentioned. This interest not mentioned in the order original. The taxpayer says order original is passed without demanding interest, therefore I am not liable to pay interest. No, taxpayer, your claim not justifiable. Refer section 75 subsection 9. interest on the tax short paid, not paid shall be payable whether or not, the word is what? Whether or not specified in the order. Whether or not specified in the order. Which order? Order in original. Even though not specified, interest what? Interest what? Mandatory to pay. Such a interest, two types. One is called 18% interest per annum, 24% interest per annum. 18% interest will come for all cases other than the input tax credit. Input tax credit is excess claiming, thereby causing revenue loss, or input tax credit wrongly availed, wrongly utilized. In that cases, 24% interest per annum will come. Tax not paid by having more excess of ITC, you utilize it, then 24% interest per annum. Sir, it's not interest, not belongs to input tax credit matter, sir. 12% liable to pay GST, sir. I paid 6%, sir. Short paid of 6%, sir. 18% GST. Sir, I have to pay the tax, sir. Delay happened to pay the tax, sir. 18% GST. 18% interest per annum. Is clear, sir? Sir, eligible to claim ITC only 1 lakh, sir. But I availed the ITC 10 lakhs, sir. Means excess availed how much? 9 lakhs. That 9 lakhs excess availed causing revenue loss of 9 lakhs. You are liable to pay 12 lakh rupees GST, Raja. While paying the GST 12 lakh rupees, eligible to avail only 1 lakh. How much you have to pay? 11 lakh. But while paying the GST 12 lakhs, you avail the ITC instead of 1 lakh, avail 10 lakhs. Thereby paid how much? 2 lakhs. Liable to pay how much? Liable to pay 11 lakhs, but you paid how much? 2 lakhs. Difference how much? 9 lakhs. That 9 lakhs you excess availed ITC, thereby causing revenue loss. Utilize that at 9 lakhs interest 24% per annum, not 18% per annum. Got the clarity? That is what I want to say. Now please come back. So this is the introduction only for the topic called what? Interest. If you are in regular class, I would have provided gigantic manner examples, because time is so constrained. I can't going on take the stories. So look on this point, 18% interest, and this also now with some amended provisions. Here 18% interest per annum under section 50 subsection 1 applies only when there is rule number 88 capital B sub number 1 or sub number 2 cases. What is that sub number 1 and sub number 2? Here we have rule number 88 sub number 1, rule number 88 capital B sub number 1. If tax has been belatedly paid through credit balance on account of delayed filing of return, rule number 88 capital B 1 applies when there is a delayed filing of return, thereby delay payment of GST, and such a payment of tax through enter in cash ledger, enter in credit ledger, permissible. In that case means self-assessment tax. While paying, can avail self-assessment credit? Yes. Then in that case, this particular interest at the rate of 18% per annum will come into picture. The interest to be paid for the period of delay in filing the said return beyond the due date up to the rate of filing the GST 3B. What is it, sir? How to understand, sir? Tell me, my dear, you tell me in the given case, when we talk about here, X Limited, a registered person of GST law, paying the regular scheme the tax. Now, for the month of April 2025, GSTR 3B, GSTR 3B Due date, tell me. Due date 20th of May 2025. Correct, sir? Now here in this month, my output tax liability 20 lakhs. My input tax credit is 18 lakhs. Then electronic cash ledger 2 lakhs. This data supposed to be filed by due date. But what happened here? GST year 3B filed on 20th June 2025. Delay happened? Delay how many days? Delay how many days means delay here how many days? From 21st of May. So in the May month 11 days. In the month of June 20 days. Together 31 days. So at the rate of 18% interest per annum. On what amount? Is it on gross liability 20 lakhs or is on net liability of payable electronic cash ledger after utilizing the input tax credit 2 lakhs? On what value? Rule number 88 capital B sub number 1 says net cash payable electronic cash how much? Net cash payable electronic cash ledger how much? 2 lakhs on 2 lakhs 18% GST interest multiplied by how many days? 31 divided by 365 days. The interest comes into picture. Interest how much? 3058. Correct amount? Got correct amount? And I want to recheck now. 18% 31 divided by 365 days. 3058. Is clear? Here amendment taken place recently. That amendment applicable for May 25 exam onwards. Well applicable for our coming exams. Suppose this X Limited, look here, X Limited deposited in electronic cash ledger by debiting bank account. He brought the amount into cash ledger rupees 2 lakh, but not filed return on 20th May 2025. Now, how much liability to pay in cash ledger? 2 lakhs. Sufficient balance available in the electronic cash ledger 2 lakhs is there. As on the due date to pay the 2 lakhs, the 2 lakhs is brought under the electronic cash ledger, but not submitted to department by way of electronic the GSTR 3B return not submitted, but amount is available. If that amount continues till the date of filing that return, then there is no interest will apply. Repeating, whatever liable to pay through electronic cash ledger, sufficient balance created into the electronic cash ledger and that balance continued till the date of filing that return belatedly, then interest not applicable. Suppose 2 lakh liable to pay on 20th May 2025, but I brought into electronic cash ledger 1,50,000 as the date of due date to pay that, but return not filed, belated return filed. In that case, shortfall how much? 50,000. That alone will attract interest for the number of days delay at the rate of 18%. Got the clarity? Now, once you understand 88B sub number 1, this is only when instead of filing on 20th of May, you filed on 20th of June. It is called what? Return filed belatedly. In that case only rule number 88 capital B sub number 1 will come into picture. You get my point? If so, while paying the liability, input tax is allowed to adjust. While paying liability, input tax is allowed to adjust. Is it clear? Come back. Before entering into rule number 88, capital B, sub number 1, I want to know from my below friends, April month 25 Raja, April 25, GSTR 3B, due date tell me, 20th May 2025, is clear? Coming to May 2025, due date 20th June. Can you agree with me? Now here I have ITC in the month of April, 2 lakhs. Here I have ITC in the month of May, 3 lakhs. Is clear, sir? Now, be careful, listen, you won't forget forever. As long as the provision is there, so long you won't forget rule number 88, capital B, sub number 2. Only thing is to understand. Now, here, this return, due date, GSTR 3B, filed on 20th May 2025. Filed? Filed. How filed? Output tax, let us say 12 lakh, ITC 2 lakh, 10 lakh. 10 lakhs by electronic cash. Is clear? Now, department came to know that here short paid rupees 50,000 short paid. How much? Why? What do you short paid? You liable to pay 12 lakh 50,000, deducting 2 lakh ITC. Supposed to pay by electronic cash 10 lakh 50,000, but you paid how much? 10 lakhs. Short paid how much? Which is called short paid. Short paid. Supposed to pay when? 20th of May, but you not paid. Now, that short paid, you entering into May month, okay? While filing GSTR 3B for the May month when? 20th June 2025, this amount paid. If you paid this amount in the month of June, now you tell me my May month liability how much? May month liability, output tax 5 lakhs. My kid how much? 3 lakhs. Or I can say like this, My output tax 1 lakh. My credit how much? I adjust it. Excess credit how much? That 2 lakhs excess credit is there. While paying this amount, previous month liability now I am paying. Can I reduce the credit? Possible ராஜா? Possible கிடையாது. எப்படி பண்ண முடியும்? புரியுதா? புரியுதா ராஜா நான் சொல்றது? Previous month liability for previous month credit only can adjust it. Previous month liability, future input is allowed. You get my point? This is the logical point. Finally, you have to understand. See, short paid 50,000, subsequent period I am going to pay. Such a payment I have to pay through electronic cash ledger. Correct? Correct. But what you are doing here is, I am liable to pay. How much liable to pay? Here 1 lakh. Previous month not paid, short paid, adding 50,000. Total how much? 1 lakh? 50,000. And deducting 3 lakhs. Still excess credit carry forward 1 lakh 50. If you did so, 50,000 liability, which is supposed to be by 20th of May, you are paying on 20th of June. If so, delay payment of just happened or not? How much rupees? 50,000. For which, while paying that amount of 50,000, belatedly, rule number 88, sub number capital B, sub number 2 says that, this rule says that gross liability should be considered for interest purpose. Gross liability should be considered. 88B1. What is the referred? I referred 81B. What is referred? Net liability after the ITC. Reasonably correct. When you come here, short paid, not paid. Short paid or not paid. That case is subsequent. That means you file the return. You file the return. But you are not paid amount, previous period, subsequently you are going to pay. In that case, delay happened. Gross liability. Gross liability is to be considered. Sir, while considering gross liability, if you argue with me, sir, as the due date to pay the GST, 20th May 2025, I have electronic cash ledger balance 15 lakhs. How much? 15 lakhs. But I short paid 50,000. 10 lakhs gone from 50 lakhs. Still excess credit how much? Excess electronic cash ledger how much? 9, 5 lakhs is there. I brought to the electronic cash ledger 15 lakhs to pay 10 lakhs. I supposed to pay 10 lakhs 50,000. But I brought 15 lakhs into electronic cash ledger. I brought into electronic cash ledger how much? 15 lakhs to pay 10 lakhs. Supposed to pay 10 lakhs 50,000. I just wanted 10 lakhs. Short paid how much? 50,000. But still I have credit in the electronic cash ledger how much? 5 lakhs as on the date of due date to pay the GST. And that continues till 20th June 2025. In that case, I am not liable to pay interest. Just now got no payment. Electronic cash ledger cash balance irka evala irke more than liability. Is it continued till the date of making the payment? Yes, continued, sir. Am I liable to pay interest? No, because the interest for what, Raja? Interest is for revenue loss. Opportunity loss, correct? What is the interest? If anybody want to refer my Rafi Sir IT Guru channel. There I have mentioned what is interest under GST. Video is there. Make use of it, because I am not going to propagate. They are coming, YouTube wala coming here. Sir, I will make views to you to increase like lakhs of views. You have to pay the subscription fees. எப்போடா சொல்லுங்க, நானே கிளாஸ் ஃப்ரீயாக சொல்கிறேன், யூடியூப் ஃப்ரீயாக கொடுக்குறேன், அது ப்ரமோட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு நான் காசு கொடுக்கணும் உனக்கு, நான் தர மாட்டேன் போ. என்ன வியூஸ் 100 110 என்ன பரவாயில்ல. If I pay the fees to them, my views will be 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh. Others are doing that, but I am not worried about it. Reality ultimately will be shine. Correct? So I said, no. What is interest is there? Go and see in Rafi Sir IDT Guru YouTube channel. What is interest? Interest means if you have paid that rupees 50,000 on 20th May 2025 itself to me, I would have been deposited in the bank, I would have been earned the interest. Now that opportunity loss taken place, you not paid in time, therefore you pay interest. Now I am arguing the amount is available in the electronic cash ledger. If the amount is available in the electronic cash ledger, I cannot withdraw the amount. You get my point, sir? Only I can take that money through refund procedure. Through refund, it is the money of the government, but only thing is that money shifting from electronic cash ledger account to government revenue account, treasury, only when I submit the GST 3B. But the amount is available with the government only, na? Electronic cash ledger is the ledger of the government through which I am paying the payment. Payment will take place only when I submit the return, but the amount is there in the ledger account. In that case, the law of the land says not liable to pay interest if the sufficient balance is available on the due date to pay that particular amount, and that is continued till the date of payment. So this point I want to see here, bring you notice to your notice here. So my point here is very clear, sir. Rule number 88B, capital rule number 88, capital B, sub number 2. What it says, I want to bring here. Rule number 88B, capital B, sub number 2. In all other cases other than B-related return, interest payable on delay payment of tax covered. Okay. Amount of tax which remains unpaid, gross liability without deducting ITC. Why without deducting ITC? Because here April month short paid 50,000, you are going to pay in the month of, for the month of May, return filing 20th of June. That much short paid. In the month of May, credit is there na, that you cannot adjust and come to the net amount and say that net amount only I am liable to pay interest. You cannot say. Here this credit is belongs to which credit? Credit with effect from 1st May 25 credit. You won't have a single rupee credit in the month of April. Reason? You pay the cash. Paid cash means what? Electronic credit is dry. Electronic credit is 1 million, 0. Then only you pay 10 lakh rupees cash, correct? Supposed to pay 10 lakh 50,000, which is April month. Now coming to May month credit cannot be adjusted against April month, previous month. May month credit cannot be adjusted for payment of previous dues. From 1st of May, any liability you have to pay. Adjust the credit. Get my point, sir? That's why the law says interest in the given case, enter 50,000, multiply by 18%. Though you have a credit of rupees 3 lakhs in the May month. For how many days? In the April month, 10 days. In the May month, 20 days. 30 days delay. Count reckon from the first day of the after the due date. Due date is 20th May, 11 days. 11 days in the month of May, 20 days in the month of June, together 31 days delay. Is clear? Now please come back. Here I would like to bring to notice the amended provision. Furthermore, this is what? This point I would like to bring to a notice. My dear friend, you can read Raja, this point alone, that particular provision is then I will bring. Yes. Could you read that point alone, that particular, in the said rule? Please read, Amma.
In the said rules, in Rule 88B, after sub-rule subsection 1, the following proviso shall be inserted with effect from 10/7/2024, namely, provided that where any amount has been credited in the electronic cash ledger as per provisions of subsection 1 of section 49 on or before the due date of filing, the said return but is debited from the said ledger for payment of tax while filing the said return after the due date. The said amount shall not be taken into consideration while calculating such interest. The said amount is lying in the said ledger from the due date till the date of its debit at the time of filing return. Notification number 1224 dated 10/7/2024. With effect from 10/7/2024, the proviso of section 50 subsection 1 of the CGST Act, effective from July 10, 2024, provides relief to taxpayers regarding interest on delayed tax payments. The taxpayer deposits the tax amount in the electronic cash ledger on or before the due date but files the GSTR 3B written after the due date. Interest will not be charged on the amount that was timely deposited in the ECL. Interest will apply only to any tax amount that was not deposited by the due date.
Now, here I have been overstated the provision to some extent. What is overstated? Rule number 88, capital B, sub number 1. In that case alone, electronic cash ledger has sufficient balance to pay the tax through electronic cash ledger, which is not submitted on or before the due date, but submitted belatedly. In that case, the amount paid to electronic cash ledger, interest 18% not applicable. Rule number 88, sub number 2 is not the case of 88B1. 88B1 in case of delay filing of return. Now, this sufficient electronic cash ledger balance availability as on the due date to file the return but return not filed, that case only apply. That means in the given case, rule number 88, capital B, sub number 2 is considered. I file the return on the due date on 20th of May. If I file the return where I paid the tax, how much paid the tax? Electronic cash ledger 10 lakhs. Electronic cash ledger, how much is there? Cash 10 lakhs only. I paid. Is clear? And I filed the return also. After that, I came to know 50,000 short paid, which I am going to take up to pay in the month of May. Return going to file. May return going to file in the month of June. The gross liability of rupees 50,000 is subject to interest. Is clear? Is clear? Now, second scenario where I have overstated. What I overstated? Assume a scenario in rule number 88B, sub number 2. Liable to pay through electronic cash, how much? 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs. But I brought into electronic cash, how much I said? 15 lakhs I brought in electronic cash. I paid off. Still excess, how much is there? 5 lakhs is there. Now you tell me, this is a case of return filed. Return filed case. Return filed case, Rule number 88B, sub number 1 apply. Rule number 88B, sub number 2 apply. 2 apply. When rule number 88B, sub number 2 apply, then whether the amount in the electronic cash ledger is the excess is there or not, immaterial. What is your short paid? How much short paid? 50,000. That will be at the interest at the rate of 18% per annum. Not this is what gross liability I said, na? 50 rupees gross liability, no? You get my point, sir? Yes or no? Now I will take afresh. I will take afresh is okay. I will consider rule number 88B, sub number 1 is clear. Rule number 88B, sub number 2 is clear. You will appreciate this presentation. For April 2025, output tax 12 lakh. You get my point, sir? Less output means output tax ade. Output tax. How much? 12 lakhs. ITC, let us say 2 lakh. It is how much? 2 lakhs. Balance to pay how much? 10 lakh. Due as on 20th May 2025. To file GST 3B return is clear. This is filed on 20th is clear, sir. Now here case 1 electronic cash ledger on 20th May 25 nil. If so, interest at the rate of 18% per annum on what value? On 10 lakhs. On 10 lakhs. For how many days delay? 31. 31 so what? Due when? May month due. May month how many days? May month how many days? 31 days minus 20, 11 days. May month. June month 20. 11 plus 20, 31 days. How much? Interest. Keep clear, Raja. By the time you have to say no to me, online students also say, before my half-line students, how much? On 10 lakhs, 31%, 18% interest, 31 days. How much? 15,288. 15,288 is clear. Now here case 2 electronic cash ledger on 20th May 2025 is 10 lakhs. Adding cash ledger balance 10 lakhs is there as the due date is there, but I have not filed the return. If so, when I file the return? 20th of June. This 10 lakhs as on 30th of May 25 till 20th June 2025 is there. Till 20th June, till the date of filing the return, immediately is there still amount. In that case, interest applicable? No. So therefore no interest is clear. This is what? The case of 881B. The proviso attached. Is clear? This proviso is only for rule number 88B, sub number 1, not rule number 88B, sub number 2. What is sub number 2? Here, see, April 2025, output tax, how much? 12 lakhs. 12 lakhs. Can you agree? Then ITC, how much? 2 lakhs. Due to pay. Due on what date? Due on 28th May 2025. How much? 10 lakhs. Return submitted, paid on 20th May 2025, 10 lakhs. Electronic cash ledger is how much? 0. That means have I filed the return or not? Return submitted. Then here note taken place. Note. Rupees 50,000 short paid. Instead of payment of 10 lakh 50,000, I paid how much? 10 lakhs. Return also submitted. There is no bill return. Clear? This short paid on 20th May 2025. Subsequent month. Subsequent month means what? May 2025. My output tax, let us say 8 lakhs. Let's say ITC I have. I will say like this. Yes, ITC rupees 9 lakhs. So excess ITC carry forward how much? 1 lakh. Now this month amount short paid the previous month. Now I am going to pay. Correct? Due date how much? When due date? Due date to pay. Due date 20th June 2025. Are you getting my point, sir? If this is a due date, now rupees 50,000 when I am going to pay, can I able to utilize the credit of the future period? This rupees 50 rupees belongs to April 25. This credit belongs to May month. That can be adjusted. You have to pay to electronic cash ledger. When you are going to pay this rupees 50 with electronic cash ledger, delay happen. So here number of days delay. Number of days delay. How many days? 31. So gross liability to take. Do not deduct the credit. Credit not how to deduct. 50,000 multiplied by 18% into 31 divided by 365 days. Interest 760.64. Now this is what the here. This I will say here case 1. This is what? Case 1. Suppose case 2, electronic cash ledger balance on 20th May 2025 to pay this 15 lakhs, paid rupees 10 lakhs, excess rupees 5 lakhs. Is clear? Now we notice that short paid how much? 50,000. Why short paid 50,000? Because you shown in the return to pay only 10 lakhs. Only 10 lakhs you have been brought here. Yes, 10 lakhs here you are shown in the return, and the return also filed. Excess electronic cash ledger balance how much is there? 5 lakhs. Now return filed case. But after file the return, you came to know that there is a short paid. How much rupees? 50,000. Why is short paid 50,000? You have not considered that liability in the GST 3B return and you filed. Is clear? In that case, this particular new provision applicable, not applicable. If applicable, if you say no interest. If not applicable, you say interest. I am saying not applicable. Why? Why not applicable? New provision means this provision says that, as you rightly now read also, as on the due date of filing the return, sufficient balance available in the electronic ledger, and that balance is continued till the date of filing that return. For the tax period, return filing. Then, even though that return filed belatedly, interest not applicable. But here you file the return by due date. Even though you have excess cash ledger, you not considered the liability to pay 50,000. That you, after filing the return in time, you came to know 50,000 liability not considered. That is called short paid. But electronic cash ledger balance available, how much? 5 lakhs. But the return has to filed, no? Return has to filed. Therefore, rule number 88 can be sub number 2 apply. When sub number 2 apply, gross liability short paid how much? Gross liability short paid how much? 50,000 will apply for the interest. In that case also, here interest is there. Interest is available. Interest will come into picture. Interest is equal to 50,000 into 18% into 31 divided by 365 days equal to rupees 760. Our answer remains same, not change. You get my point? Because a clear reading of this in the said rule, rule number 88B, after sub rule number 1, the following proviso means after rule number 88B, sub number 1, the provision start where any amount has been created electronic cash ledger as per section 49 means amount created in electronic ledger on or before the due date of the said return, but debit from the said ledger for payment of tax while filing the said return after the due date. The said amount shall not be taken into consideration while calculating such interest if the said amount is lying in the said ledger from the due date till the date of its debit at the time of filing the return, the said return. Means strictly this provision applies to rule number 88 capital B sub number 1 case only, not rule number 88 sub number capital B, sub number 2 case. You get my point, sir? So this point, what I have been presented here for information and confirmation purpose, right now I am sending to your group. Let me send this. I will take up. Which one, Raja? First, let me complete this. This is separate, na? In that only, yeah? Tell me. Go ahead.
Example, instead of 10 lakhs there in my cash ledger, I have 5 lakhs in my cash ledger. I have deposited another 5 lakhs on 25th of May, but I filed the return on 20th June.
As on the date of due date, as on the due date, sufficient balance should be there in the ledger. If not there, to the extent of shortfall, for the number of days delay will be paid. Even though after the due date, you brought into cash ledger some extra amount, which is not going to consider.
Even if I deposited 5 lakhs on 25th, the interest calculation will be on from the due date, 20th June.
That question you are asking, na? I have the answer. You are asking the question. I will provide to you. Numeric example is okay for you? If I bring numeric example, is okay? Okay or not? This example, read Raja. Example, issued example.
Scenario of tax liability for July 2024 is 1 lakh. Due date for GSR 3B filing August 20th, 2024. Date of tax deposit into the electronic cash ledger is August 2024. Date of GSR 3B filing August 25th, 2024. Days of delay in filing is 5 days. Interest rate 18% per annum. Scenario analysis. First scenario. Full tax amount deposit on due date. Since the entire tax liability of 1 lakh was deposited into the electronic cash ledger on or before the due date 20th August, and remained there until it was debited at the time of filing return on 25th August, no interest is payable on this. Partial tax scenario 2. Partial tax amount deposit on due date. Amount deposit on due date is 70,000. Remaining amount deposit on August 20, 2024. Interest calculation. Interest applies only to the delayed amount of 30,000 for 5 days from 21st August to 25th August till the date of his debit at the time of filing return. Interest amount will be 30,000 into 18 percentage for 5 days is 73.8. Therefore, an interest of 74 rupees is payable due to the delay in depositing 30,000.
Got the clarity? Even I file the return instead of when I say 5 days delay, 5 days delay. In between I paid the amount. 22nd I paid, which is not considered. What is short cash ledger on the date of due date of file return? 30,000. That 30 rupees on 22nd day, 23rd day, 24th day, I may be deposited. But when you file the return? 25th. How many days? Number days? 5 days. 5 days on what? Enter value of shortfall how much? 30,000. Is clear? There, if you ask the question, I will present the solution. Is clear? Now coming to rule number 88, capital B, sub number 3, very powerful, Raja. Where it is going to come 24% interest per annum. 24% interest per annum. So you want me to send this or not? This one, very important. You make it to update in your side, in your material whenever you are. You please update in the notebook. There is a classroom discussions. Sir, no problem, sir. See, if you are having the time of 1 year, 2 years for indirect taxes, you become a master to run the exam. But we have a 6 months, 9 months only time period for the exam point of view for all subjects, for which you not facilitation. Like a good friend as a tutor should guide you to make fruit bring into your just mouth. You eat If difficulty here to bite, crushing and giving you to swallow. This is a classroom. That's why classrooms are required. Otherwise, you yourself can master, but time taking. Got the clarity? I sent to the group this one. Now, rule number 88B, sub rule number 3, which is as follows. Look here, sub rule number 3. Where the interest is payable on the amount ITC wrongly availed and utilized by 53. Section 50, what rate of interest now? 24% interest per annum. Amount of input as credit wrongly availed is the amount to be considered. The credit itself is the amount. Gross liability, what excess you have been claimed is the amount is the ITC on which you have to pay the interest. But number of days count reckoned from where? No, listen here. Period starting from the date of utilization of such amount. What is date of utilization? Understand? What is date of? We have concept. Date of utilization means earlier of the following two: due date of the said return, actual date of filing the return, whichever is earlier. In the case of return you are going to file GST 3B. If the return not filed cases, in any other cases, the debit in the electronic credit ledger is a date of utilization. What do you mean by debit in the electronic credit ledger? Actually, electronic credit is credit. Whenever you purchase the goods, credit to electronic credit ledger, and the amount I am going to be set off against my liability by debiting to electronic credit ledger. The debit in the electronic ledger is utilization. If not, return filing cases, due date of filing the return or actual date of filing the return, whichever is earlier is the date of utilization. Now you tell me, brah, look to my face on the forehead, you will get it. My liability for the month of April is 15 lakhs, 15. Okay. I have a credit with me 5 lakhs. How much? Credit 5 lakhs. 5 lakhs credit wrongly availed. Wrongly availed. When I am going to pay the tax, 15 lakhs liability, I paid electronic cash ledger. Fully I paid electronic cash ledger. I have not touched ITC, which is wrongly availed. Am I liable to pay interest? Wrongly availed, rightly not utilized. No interest. Is clear? Okay. I have my liability now 12 lakhs. How much? 12 lakhs. I have my credit 20 lakhs. How much? 20 lakhs. Out of 20 lakhs credit, 8 lakhs wrongly availed. 8 lakhs rightly availed, 12 lakhs. Total credit 20 lakhs. My liability 12 lakhs. While paying the 12 lakhs liability, 20 lakhs I adjusted. Still excess credit how much? 8 lakhs. Now out of 20 lakhs credit, wrongly availed how much? 8 lakhs. That 8 lakhs remains in the ledger of electronic credit ledger. Electronic credit ledger is there. In that case, what is the amount of credit wrongly utilized by me? 0. Perfectly correct. Now 12 lakhs my liability, Raja. My credit is 20 lakhs. In 20 lakhs credit, wrongly availed 15 lakhs, 15. Out of 20 lakhs credit, wrongly availed how much? 15 lakhs. Rightly availed 5 lakhs. Total credit how much? 20 lakhs. My liability is 12 lakhs. I adjusted. I have excess credit of 8 lakhs. Now, how much credit wrongly utilized? 7 lakhs. There you are. Because this particular 15 lakhs wrongly 15 lakhs minus 8 lakhs. Get my point, sir. Sir, my liability 12 lakhs, my credit 20 lakhs. Entire 20 lakhs wrongly availed. When I adjusted, still excess how much? 8 lakhs credit is there. How much I have wrongly utilized the credit? 12 lakhs, there you are, that's all. On that 12 lakhs only interest will apply at the rate of 24% per annum from the due date, from the first day of the due date till the date of payment. Got the clarity? With this, interest chapter is over. Interestingly, see you after 1 hour lunch break to take up a new chapter called TDS, TCS, followed by returns.